You might have liked the Nokia XR20 but thought it was a bit too expensive at launch. You might have also had reservations about long-term performance, durability, and how the phone would fare after receiving the Android 12 update. The good news is, I've been using this tank as my daily driver for the past 6 months, and here is my long-term review. One of the main reasons I'm using this phone is the peace of mind that's associated with the promise of ruggedness and durability. And because, quite frankly, I hate using phone cases. I think they completely minimize any effort being put into ergonomics, in-hand feel, and design. And since moving away from Lumia devices back in 2015, I've managed to break the glass display on both my HTC 10 and my LG G6. So I had to adapt to using phone cases because I learned the lesson the expensive and hard way. I can rant on and on about how I think it's stupid to make a fragile phone that's expected to survive with you on a day in and day out basis, and then charge an arm and a leg just to fix it, but I won't. Anyway, I haven't been babying my Nokia XR20. I've taken it swimming, thrown it around a football pitch, buried it under hot sand, and even unintentionally dropped it exactly 4 times. And dropped it numerous times just to demonstrate how tough it is. And it's held up like a champ. It isn't completely unscathed, as there are some small visible scuff marks on all the corners of this phone. And a very noticeable mark left on the bottom left corner after I've dropped the phone on concrete from about shoulder height. But the back rubbery panel remains, as promised, looking quite pristine. And the display looks flawless, minus a couple of micro scratches that are caused by dust, which are unavoidable. I even performed an accidental burn test on the display, but the display still works absolutely perfectly. I would definitely recommend getting a screen protector for this just to avoid micro scratches and accidents like this one. Overall, I'm very satisfied with how well this phone managed to hold up. The structural integrity still remains perfect, the phone still feels like a tank in the hand, and I think it can survive almost anything you can throw at it with total ease. The only negative thing that I have to say about the hardware is about that protruding plastic element that's surrounding the camera bump, which is there for protection. The color on that element scuffs too easily, especially if you drop it, which stops me from giving the hardware a perfect 10. I've already talked in length about the Snapdragon 480 that's inside the XR20, and benchmarks usually measure the maximum performance and not the consistency or the short bursts of power needed in order to launch apps and for multitasking. Even after 6 months of usage and with over 100 apps installed for some reason on my own device, the phone remains pretty quick in handling most tasks that you throw at it. And I've been using Android 12 on the XR20 for the past 2 weeks or so, and I'm happy to report that the performance generally hasn't degraded after the update. It isn't absolutely flawless, as for some reason the Twitter client after Android 12 is now janky when you're trying to scroll, for example, and the transition animations aren't always super smooth, but the phone doesn't lag or hang at all. I think this phone would have definitely benefited from having a higher refresh rate display, which would have made the user experience and smoothness a lot more satisfying. The limitations of the Snapdragon 480 still remain the same even after the update, as you'd expect. So there's still no 4K video recording, for example, and hardcore gamers can definitely find multiple other devices that offer better gaming experiences, especially on graphic-intensive games. For casual gaming every once in a while, this will perfectly do. So what are the main changes that Android 12 bring to this phone? There are some basic theming options available now, so you can change the color profile of the operating system based on the background that you're using. There are a couple of newly designed widgets that match the overall look and feel of Android 12. The notification toggles have been revamped and they now offer more information and bigger buttons. And you can also take long screenshots. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the phone's performance and consistency after the update, but I do have one complaint, and that's the fact that the screen on time has been removed from inside the battery settings for some reason, and that's pretty annoying. If you want to see all the features that Android 12 brings to the XR20, do check out my Nokia X20 Android 12 review, and I'll link to that in the description below. Since the update to Android 12, I've noticed a slight improvement in battery life. The improvement comes in the shape of more efficient consumption when you're not using the phone. So you can still comfortably get over 8 hours of screen on time if you're using Wi-Fi. With my usage, after about 4 hours of screen on time, I'm ending each day with about 50% charge compared to about 40% charge on Android 11. Battery life is still excellent overall even after 6 months of usage, which is something that you'll really appreciate if you're using this phone outdoors a lot. Since its release, the Nokia XR20 remains a pretty unique offering. I still think it's the only rugged device that's close enough to a mainstream device that you can comfortably carry it and use it as a daily driver. You can definitely get more powerful devices for the money even after its price has dropped. So it's not a completely no compromise trade-off, but it's still compelling enough as a package for me to easily recommend it to somebody who would value the extra durability and peace of mind over raw performance. Yeah, this device has turned out to be my favorite Nokia that's been released over the last couple of years, and I do hope that we see a successor that addresses its weaknesses in the near future. If you want to know more about the XR20, check out my full review or check out my Android 12 review on the X20, which is pretty much identical to what you find on this phone. Thank you for watching and I shall see you in the next one.